And we are live right now. Just run this. Y'all will be in the background.
Can you count, suckers? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you count, suckers? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you count, suckers? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you count, suckers? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you count, suckers? Can you dig it? Can you?
Hey, what's happening, good people? How y'all doing?
Good evening.
Good, how are you?
What up, man? Everything is good. Everything is good. We're waiting on Juan to come in, and we'll be getting started. But let me first take the time to introduce everybody. Venita, let's start with you. How's things been going?
I can't complain. My
All
holiday
right.
was good. It was quiet, peaceful. Kids growing on, so it was a relaxation time for me. So it was good.
Right. I talked to you earlier. You're just getting off that road in that traffic. I know that could be crazy.
Coming from Charlotte today, going to Charlotte and coming right back. I can't even in the rain.
Right.
It seemed like when the rain comes, everybody hit the gas. So I couldn't go 10 miles before there was another accident and another slow down. So I guess everybody in a hurry to get home as well. But yeah, I'm glad to be home and safe.
I understand. I know that can be stressful.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Miss Sheryl, how's things in your world?
It is fantastic. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas to you.
It is beautiful here in the Central Florida area. I think it's, as we do the show, it'll probably get down into the 50s. So I'm enjoying it. I'm outside on my front porch.
All right.
So this is winter in Florida.
All right. Well, what you sipping on and what you smoking on today?
So tonight I have Caniche Reserve, which is a rum.
Mm-hmm.
There. And this is one of my favorites, Tabernacle Lancero.
Oh.
Full body.
That's
how I started.
So what you think about that Tabernacle?
I keep them.
You keep?
I keep them.
One of my favorite and one of my go-to cigars. Love the line. Foundation, right?
Yep, Foundation. Vitola is a Lancero, so it's all good. I'm feeling great.
That sounds good. That sounds good. And for Jay Ferg, I'm missing I'm missing Chester right now. He's gonna be sitting next to me in a few minutes. But Jay Ferg, as I ran the destination here, let me just run it one more time, and then you can speak on it, and then tell us how things been going in your life. And since last we met,
Can you count, suckers? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
hey Jay Ferg, what's going on, man? Love the promo.
Thank you, brother. Same old, man. You know, it's crunch time. 3 weeks away from the event, so every day counts now. So it's just tightening up loose ends and making sure everything is ready to go for January 11th. So right now, my focus is 100% on Destination Hearth. Everything else is on the back burner until after the 14th. So I'm all in right now.
I hear you, man. How's things been going since the last show?
Since the last show, everything's been good, man. You know, we've had some really cool things happen. We've had a couple of still working on some finalizing some deals right now for Destination Hearth that came at the last minute. So we just the process right now of finalizing those last minute details with those sponsors that's trying to be on board with us this year. So right now it's just of course with the holidays it's kind of like slow things down a little bit, but next week is going to be like really just finalizing some last minute details and, you know, getting everything, you know, all our swag has been ordered, stuff starting to come in now. So put those swag bags together and, you know, get ready for everybody to come in town and let's have a great time.
Outstanding. Well, let me get this started off. Well, first of all, let me welcome everybody to the Smoking Jackets broadcast. Two special guests, and love both of them dearly. You got to meet them in person to know their character, and certainly I have met both. Tanya first at the PCA, and then doing the show with her previously with Gurkha, and it was an outstanding show. And then we had her as a co-host. Featured co-host, and she did an outstanding job. So appreciate you for the timeliness and just being able to come on at the drop of a dime. Was able to call her up probably about an hour before the show and ask her what she's doing. I think you were in Memphis at the time.
Yeah.
One of those Tennessee, Memphis, one of those places that she's traveling a lot, but she took the time to come on and be with us, and I appreciate you for that. And then Mr. Juan. Mr. Juan. Now, Juan Cancel or Juan Can? How do you pronounce that, sir? I don't like jacking up nobody's name.
Cancel's fine. How you guys doing? Happy holidays, everybody.
Man, happy holidays to you, man. Glad to have you on. I got to first start off and say this. I'm smoking the cyber crimes unit right now. Okay. But man, smoked the Sir Robert Pill.
Yeah.
And I don't like looking anything up because I pride myself on at least pulling out some notes and what I thought looking at the wrapper. I was thinking maybe it was a Habano, and then after smoking on it, I would probably say and have to say either Ecuadorian because it was a little oily. So I would probably might say, and I could be wrong, Ecuadorian, maybe because of the oiliness broadly of some kind or some sort. Not sure, but man, the cigar started out so smooth, so rich, and even packed a little strength. And I love the spiciness at the end of it. And so, man, I enjoyed that thoroughly. And was what's left of it. I really wanted to finish most of that. And but now I'm on this cyber crimes and starting off real well for me. And so just got to start off, man. How? Well, first of all, I mean, you know, man, one of the purposes of the show, man. I mean, because your name has been going out there, the company protocol, and but it's not in every cigar store. But man, I mean, I would love to see it to the point and where it gets to being, you know, a household name. And so, how did you get your start into this industry?
How you doing? So, I guess that's actually done on purpose. We don't necessarily want to be everywhere. We're small. We're still taking this as a hobby. You know, we've been around 8 years. You know, this is a passion for us. It's not about making money. So we're not just pushing out, pumping out products. It's very small batch. Small what we can handle because basically my partner and I are the ones basically running everything and doing everything. Like when a box leaves the office, I'm the one, or my partner's the one that actually packs it. So we're very small. It's a passionate thing. So we haven't gotten to that place where we're everywhere right now. So, but we are and it's more about being in the right places. And there are a few online guys that have us. But the way we started about 8 years ago, it was me and a friend of mine. We were big cigar smokers, and a third friend just basically said, "You guys should come out with something. You're very local on social media. People know you." So that kind of started the ball, and to actually create a company. But before that even happened, I became very passionate about cigars. I've been basically been exposed to cigars all my life, but not in a traditional way when you hear that. Usually, when you hear I've been involved with cigars all my life, it's a generational thing. You know, my father grew tobacco, my great grandfather, my grandfather, all that stuff is generational. For me, it was a little bit different. It had to be, I got exposed to it from my grandfather, but it was more on a religious side because he practiced a religion called Santeria. And in the religion, cigars are used in a lot of the rituals and a lot of the seances and things of that nature. So, because of him using tobacco, I've been exposed to the smell of it early on as a kid, and I really liked it. So, in my 20s, I used to smoke cigars, but it wasn't nothing like Habatampas, Garcia Vegas, these machine made gas station cigars, because I didn't have
Right.
nobody teaching me about these things. But in '98, I was probably about 24, maybe 22, 23. Anyway, about '98, I was first introduced to my first premium cigar, which was a Hoya de Monterrey Excalibur. I think it was like a
Mm.
number three Maduro. It's a big monstrosity of a cigar. General Cigars makes that. That was my first ever premium cigar. And then basically I went down a rabbit hole to the point where I went to the Dominican Republic on cigar trips. I went to Nicaragua about a dozen times on cigar trips. I went to Honduras on cigar trips. And
Mm-hmm.
then another thing that kind of got me on, I won this competition that the Global
Right.
Tobacco was doing. It's called a Super Roll competition. I wound up winning that at the New York City Big Smoke, and then they flew me down to Miami, and then I actually learned how to roll a cigar with Ernesto Perez Carrillo from EPC. He was still a general back then, and basically that combination of that all that stuff is what sparked that fire, that passion. And then one day when I had all that had happened and that whole foundation was there, is when the cigar company started. And it was supposed to be like a one and done kind of one and done project. And now it's going on 9 years later. We
Mm.
have five, six, seven, eight, nine different brands with two or three Vitolas. I was thinking between three and four Vitolas each across each one. So there's about 26 different SKUs right now we got.
Okay. And tell us about some of the names of your cigar. I smoked the Robert Pill,
Yeah,
and
so I should have touched on that during my origin story. So I was a cop for 20 years. I did NYPD in the Port Authority And at the time when we started to come out with the name of the cigar, it's the funniest thing right now in this industry more than ever, probably. Same thing 8 years ago. You can walk into any humidor, close your eyes, pick out 10 cigars, walk out, and they're all going to be great cigars. Because right now, more than ever, there are really great cigars on the market. It's amazing how this industry is. I believe the fans and the consumers have a lot to do with that because I want to say in no other industry is such an educated consumer as it is in the cigar world, where yet people know about the wrapper, the binder, the filler, what countries they're from. Like you said, like we're average consumers, but we're all very educated. So when you have that kind of consumer, you have to put out a really good, high quality, great tasting product. So that's what happened with us. She's like, all right, we basically got the idea, come up with the brand, and I could have gone to pretty much anybody I wanted to because I was a lot of friends with a lot of people in the industry. Becoming a super fan, I was a super fan going to events. I lived 2 miles from famous smoke shop in Eastern Pennsylvania, so I was always anytime they mentioned the cigar celebrity was coming to the store, I would go and meet them and talk to them and befriend them, a lot of them. So. I could have gone to anybody for this project, but I went back then, and I still am. I'm a tremendous Lazona fanboy. I loved everything that Eric Espinosa did, does and did and has done and will do. I have his palette's amazing. That's where my palette grew. So I called up Eric Espinosa from Lazona, asked him to do my cigar. He said yes, and the rest, I guess, was history for now. He told me, he goes, making the cigar is easy, and maybe we can talk about that later. But he sat me down with his master blender, Hector Alfonso Sr. We worked out what the first blend was going to be, but then he said the hardest part about the cigar is naming it. You're going to see it. So, and he was 100% true. Like sitting down with the blender, telling him what you had in your mind was the easy part. The hard part was once you had the blend, once you had the size. The hard part was actually the actual name of the cigar. So my partner and I spent an entire weekend trying to get up, and we would think of a name, great name. We go trademark search it, and boom, it was taken. It was a whole entire weekend of trying to get the name. So then when we were sitting there, Sunday afternoon is our last day of trying to figure out, and it was the last minute because we spent the entire weekend of trying to figure this out, and then we said, why don't we look inward? Like he was a cop and I was a cop, and he was like, why don't we look inward and say, listen, we're cops. You got X amount of years. I got, between the two of us, I think we had like 25, 30 years worth of experience in law enforcement. We were like, let's do that because we can't do nothing else. But we knew that, the law enforcement is kind of like the stock market. One day, like 9/11, everybody loves cops. The next thing happens over here. But we were like, something, let's do it anyway because we get a lot of good names for it. Nobody's doing that. So we decided to go with that. So basically all the names, I'll tell you the first 5 ones is protocol because basically all cops follow protocol in all their days. Then it's probable cause. Probable cause is the backbone of law enforcement. It's the minimum amount of legal justification you have to do any kind of police work. Then you have Themis. Themis is the Greek goddess of justice. She was Zeus' first wife, and she was the inspiration of the Lady of Justice in front of all the courthouses. Then the next one we did was official misconduct. Have a little fun play on words. Yeah. When a cop gets in trouble, the first charge he gets is official misconduct, and then we had the cyber crimes, which we did to honor people that work in the cybercrime units. And the new one we got coming out is the crime scene unit. It's another cigar basically done to honor people that work crime scene evidence collection. Then we have the Lawman series. I think I sent you guys some samples. It was the Sir Robert Peel. He's considered to be the father of modern day policing. The next one we did, and that's a natural. It comes with a natural on Maduro. I'm just giving you a quick information. So the next one we did was Elliot Ness. He was famous for.
I remember that.
He's credited with arresting Al Capone. Then the next one we have is Bass Reeves, which is the first black in law enforcement. I wanted to show the diversity in law enforcement, to show that all different people, races throughout history has been in law enforcement. So I wanted to do the first. And really, this was actually funny. Bass Reeves has been out for like 2 years now. And in those 2 years, so many shows about Bass Reeves come out. It was The Harder They Fall on Netflix, and now he's got a Amazon Prime series. It's really great to see that. And people were like, "How did you know about this?" And I was like, "I did it. I did it just before all Hollywood people did it. I just did it because I wanted to pay some homage to the first black in law enforcement." And then the newest one is Phoebe Cousins, the first female law enforcement in the United States, who's also the first female and also the first lawyer.
Right. Well, I'm certainly waiting on one of our co-hosts, which is Z, formerly Prime Draw, now Sequoia Cigar. She's not with us tonight. Hopefully, she'll be joining us again soon. But I certainly know that she did and still does carry your cigars. And so
Yes.
one of the first things when I went into the shop, I said, "Oh, I got to get this, got to get that." And she said, "No, you got to try this." And so definitely love the line and love what you did in terms of the ingenuity with the names. So I'm not going to take all this time with you. I want to get Chester in here. I just got in here. Yeah, he just got in here. But, he has a unique story to tell about the cyber crimes unit. So I'm going to turn it over to him right now for any questions he might have for you. I know he just got in here.
I'm going to divert to Venita.
Well, that's no problem.
I'm trying to get this.
Venita,
Yes.
you're trying to get situated and get
It's right
started.
here. It's nice.
What you have for Juan today?
Mr. Juan, you say that you didn't want to cover all the masses or the different cigar lounges and cigar stores, but you've blown up in the amount of time that you've been in the industry. Did you know this was going to happen? Like,
Absolutely.
was this your baby?
Absolutely not. So every project that we come out with from day one to our last one that we coming out soon, we always say, all right, this might be our last one. This might be the last cigar we put out. So we want to make sure it's something that we love. So every single project that's come out, this has been very organic, this whole entire thing. It's nothing, we didn't have this plan that 8 years later we're going to do this. The first time we ever came out, all right, boom, we're going to do 2,500 cigars in a Toro size and in the Corona Gordo size. It's 5,000 cigars, 500 bundles, altogether. We're like, oh, this is going to last forever. No, we're never going to sell this. So every time that we come up with a cigar, we say we're never going to sell this. So if we're going to have, 10,000 cigars that can't sell, at least we got to be able to smoke it. So every single release, same thing. Whatever we put out, we love it because it might not sell. We never know. This is how we've been since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking this is going to be a very small project and it's something fun that we've done for the passion of our hearts, the desire, the burn that we have for this industry and the leaf itself. I especially feel that the tobacco is a very spiritual thing. Think about our ancestors from the Native Americans to the Mayan cultures, all those they've been using tobaccos in some sort of way for generations and years, and the first peoples in this, out there was using tobaccos. So it is and how many religions? Like I kind of started the story as my exposure to tobacco was through religious reasons. My grandfather practicing Santeria. So it is a very spirituality. This is not like opening up a can of Pepsi, you're drinking and satisfied. This is something, and you think about burning sage, the smoke. There's something more to smoke and tobacco than just a luxury product that sometimes a stamp is put on as just a luxury product. There's more to spirituality to it. So it is something that you go into a cigar shop. It brings people together. It's camaraderie and things. So part of that whole thing was my passion that kind of always led each project. And it was never about money. I didn't want to make money with this thing. And I can even argue I'm not making money because I'm not taking it to the next level. We're blowing out, doing 200,000 cigars out of each line. It's still small batch because again, we are small batch, so it's all about the finances. We do sell out of what we put out, but we put it right back into the business to buy more of the next one and have all that ready for people to try. And it's been amazing how the fan base, and I still can't say blow up like you guys said, but it's amazing to see how enthusiastic the fans. I even hate to use the word fans, more like the supporters. How enthusiastic the supporters are for the brand and what they like, and it's pretty cool. And I'm still humbled by it today, and
Mhm.
I'm very, say thank anybody out there watching Smokes Protocol Cigars. Thank you very much because without you, I wouldn't be here right now, or neither would the company.
So I'm smoking on the Sir Robert Peel right now, and it's a really smooth, nice smoke. Which one of the cigars is your baby? What is your go-to cigar that you have said, I put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into this one cigar? And did it go
That,
where you wanted it to go?
that's a great question. So it's going to be two. Before I tell you all the names, protocol, probable cause, those with the P's, like you see the cybercrime. You all guys have the cybercrimes in front of you. The one that has the P on it, we call
Mhm.
that the core line. So the core line is anything with the P for protocol. And then a few years later, we want for our fifth offering onto the market. We wanted to put out something more elegant, more regal, more sophisticated. So we used higher priming in the tobacco, and we put more money into the packaging. So that's where you have the Lawman series. It became the Lawman series. The first one was Sir Robert Peel. Again, sticking with the law enforcement theme. How do we make something elegant, sophisticated, regal, but make law enforcement? And I came up with the idea. How about showcasing prominent historical figures in law enforcement? So that's how we came up with Sir Robert Peel. So Robert Peel was a British Prime Minister, and he was the person that invented Scotland Yards, the bobbies, the cops, the uniform. If you went to school today and took police science, you still learn about Peel's principles. He was the one that kind of put everything together and into like a patrol guide and all that stuff. He was the fundamentals of all that. So that's what they call him, the father of modern day policing. So when we first came out with we wanted to do something special for our fifth offering, we said, all right, let's do historical figures. So the first one we did was the Sir Robert Peel. Again, we always think each and every one of our things are going to be our last ones. So
Mhm.
in the Lawman series, the first one we did was the Sir Robert Peel, and then that is what created the Lawman series. So within our core line, the Lawman series, I'll
Mhm.
give you my favorite, a little story on each. So within the core line, the Probable Cause is my favorite, and the reason being is I am a tremendous fan. My two favorite rappers, I'm a Maduro guy. I love Maduros. That's all I smoke. But in a business, you can't always do what you like. You have to have a diversified portfolio. So to diversify our portfolio, we started doing naturals, little school rolls. But I'm a straight up, the darker it is, the better it is, the better I love it. Because Maduro, Maduro in Spanish, all it means is ripe. So when you have a banana that's ripe, not that it's stronger, but it's full of flavor and full of aroma, sweeter. Because Maduro is ripe in Spanish. So
Mhm.
Maduro cigar, the tobacco's been let. So that they ask you to. I'm sorry. So they actually do the Maduros. No, the Maduros are. I'm sorry, I'm starting to go a different way. But the Maduros are cigars that are sweeter. So I like Maduros. So the I'm sorry, the Purple Cause is the Mexican San Andreas Maduro wrapper, which is my absolutely favorite. I love that, and I love Connecticut Broadleaf Maduro wrapper. So the first one is the Probable Cause because it's the Mexican San Andreas. The first time I worked with my favorite rapper, the Mexican San Andreas. And in the Lawman series, my favorite is the Elliot Maduro because it's Connecticut broadleaf. I'm sorry, it was supposed to be a Connecticut broadleaf, but we couldn't get it. So AJ Fernandez helped us out and gave us a Nicaraguan broadleaf. And it is just absolutely delicious.
So I got one more question before I turn it over to another panelist.
Yeah.
8 years in the game, what advice would you give a new who wants to get into cigars and the production and getting them out there? And
I
what would
want to say this would be my advice. Find a reputable, trustworthy factory. The average guy, unless you have a lot of money, and even if you do have the money to open up your own tobacco factory, you're not gonna know anything. So most people go with already existing factories, be it in Honduras, Nicaragua, DR, wherever. But within that, you have your real bona fide cigar factories, and you got guys that are out there just putting stuff out because you still have your budget cigars where it's all made with the same, but they put stuff together and there's different levels. You got the premium and you got the middle and all that stuff. So I would say find a reputable a factory to work with, and number two, know your craft, know your trade, because I can't tell you how many brand owners I've met that you tell them, oh, tell me about the cigar. Well, it's got some Dominican in there, it's got some Honduran, but they don't know really. At minimum, no wrapper binder filler.
Right.
That should be what you should know. So be part of the process. Don't go to somebody and just say, make me 1,000 cigars, make me 2,500 cigars, make me 10,000 cigars of something great. It's whatever you want. I don't care. No, be part of the process, and whatever you put out, make sure that you had a hand in picking that cigar, and make sure it's something you love.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
All right. Sheryl?
My first question is, so I'm smoking the peel also. I like the slight box press because I am a fan of that. I'm pairing it with a rum that is out of Barbados. For me, because I do smoke a lot of Maduro and Oscuro leaf because that's how I started. And so that's just my preference. Is there any consideration to pairing at all? I know there's a lot of conversation in the industry around whether or not that is an avenue to pursue the way it's done in the wine industry. So I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are in respect to that.
That's a great question, and I'm gonna answer it two ways. So my philosophy is pair whatever cigar you like or whatever you like to drink, because that's gonna be your favorite pair. Because it's gonna be whatever your favorite cigar is. You said a Maduro, you got a Maduro. If you, let's say off the top of my head, you like red wine or you like rum, I always tell when people ask me things, what should I pair this with? But before I tell you what people suggest you pair it with, I always say pair it with try first pairing it with what you like. Get a cigar you like and pair it with, if you like beer, if you like wine, if you like brown, if you like white, whatever it is you love, pair it with that. This way you already know what it tastes like and you know what you're looking for. With that said, the industry kind of says when you have Maduros, you want more bolder rums because a Maduro has more, I'm not talking about strength, but richer flavors. So if you get something like, say you have, let's take the probable cause, which is the Mexican San Andreas. If you like white wine, by all means, go ahead. But what happens is a pairing is mostly used to accentuate, propel the flavors of what you're drinking and what you're smoking. So if you're gonna drink something that's like a Maduro, if you're smoking something that's like a Maduro, basically you want something more rich, robust, like a red wine, a well-aged rum, a darker bourbon, something like that. Then when you go to your more claros, your more natural cigars, maybe you go get a glass of white, get a glass of white rum, a white wine, maybe some tequila. So those kind of things happen. It's usually if you have a very robust cigar, you want to pair with something robust as well. So, and vice versa. If you have something like a Connecticut and you pair it with a red wine, the red wine might overpower the flavor of the red wine. The richness will overpower the light nuances of the Connecticut cigar.
I really like my pairing this evening. My first impression is I'm going to gather that for me, it's smoking mild, but I taste full. There's no burn on retrohale. So win-win for me. I'm looking forward to trying to get my hands on the Bass Reeves. And so what I would ask there, and I didn't notice or hear, first woman in law enforcement. I know you're
Yes.
keeping these small batch, but is there a thought on that in production?
Yes,
That was my
this year,
question.
this year's release is the first female in law enforcement again because we want to show the diversity of law enforcement throughout history. So we actually, her name is Phoebe Cousins. She was the first U.S. Marshal, and she was also the first lawyer in U.S. history. So Protocol Phoebe Cousins coming out in 2024.
Wow. That was
From
my question. Thank you, Cheryl. You stole
You're
Jay
welcome.
Ferg's question, girl. Justice. I mean, yeah. Jay Ferg.
Yes, sir. So my question to you, Juan, is when you first started and you guys decided to make this cigar, what is the one thing that you would do differently now that you know that you've been in the game for a little while that you would do differently if you were starting today?
What I would do, kind of joking in a way, what I would do differently is when we had our first production run. I never took a few bundles for myself because I thought they were going to be there forever. And one day I walked into the warehouse, they were all gone. They were all sold. So I never had any for myself to smoke, which is pretty funny. So since then that happened. Now I take about every time we have a new production release, I take 10 boxes for my own and just store that somewhere. So plus because when you age tobacco, the tobacco just tastes a lot better. So that's something I want to do. But otherwise, that's just like a personal thing. But in a business standpoint, I don't know. When I came out with the cigar, I was still a full-time cop, so there was very small amount of traveling I was able to do because you're working full-time, working overtime. I'm trying to work on my pension numbers, trying to do that. But when I started out, if I would have waited till after I retired, where I could have just put everything into this, I would have traveled more boots on the ground, more interaction, more engagement with smokers. I think I would have done that more. This is a business where it's all about the relations with people, and you really have to be out there and probably something like that. Maybe started earlier, but everything happens for a reason. So I'm at where I'm at. I'm not fully retired, so I got that going on. But now that I'm retired, I'm 50 years old. I'm beat up from being a cop for 20 years. I got bad back, bad knees. Now I don't want to travel. So it's kind of like a curse in the sense. But you definitely got to be out there and travel. Definitely do that. Make sure that you have the time to dedicate what it needs to really build this. You know, that's what I would have done differently.
Tanya, we're gonna get to you, girl. Chester, what you
I know.
got? So it says, and look on the website. There's two things. So in 2015 is where it was started, correct?
Yes, that's when we released our first release was in 2015, but the backbone of it started for 2014. But our first when we were available at market was in 2015 at the IPCPR trade show in New
Mm,
Orleans.
yeah. Yeah, so that's how I used to work at Cigars 210, and we actually got them right after last year's trade show. Um, so my question is, it's fairly still kind of fairly new in the game.
Yes.
How hard do you find it getting the cigars into the shops? Because I know we had it at Cigars 210, but you don't find Protocol in a lot of
That's
shops in this area.
that's an awesome question, and part of the answer is going to go this way. Some shops are boutique shops, very boutique shops. We do well in places that are more legacy brand that don't have any boutique. Have all your General Cigars, and these are great brands. I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm just saying you have your boutique shops that are boutique guys, and then you have your shops that are not boutique that are more traditional brands like Fuente, General, AJ, all the other guys, Padron, all those guys. It all depends on what the shop wants to do. Because with boutiques, it's like this. I'm gonna take a Perdomo for example. Perdomo is a brand that pretty much sells itself. You get a Perdomo in, they've been around for generations. People
Mhm.
know the brand. That's gonna sell itself. The average non-boutique shop goes by that model. The cigar basically sells itself. Boutique shops understand that these cigars are new, maybe not familiar to everybody, so it takes a little bit of work to help to sell them. Having me there at an event is great, but even if I was on the road 365 days, I can't be at every cigar shop across
Amen.
the nation, right? So it comes to that store that is boutique minded, that's going to say, okay, we like boutiques because they're different, they're small batch, whatever the reason why the store would like boutiques, and they'll bring boutiques in. They're more open minded to bring boutiques in. They know they're gonna help sell it, and you have to help sell the boutiques because they're smaller, because their fan base are smaller. But I've been in stores. I'm gonna take one for example called Ormenta Cigar Company in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Right? This store took a chance with me. They're boutique, but they also know how boutiques go and how much. And now it's probably about let me see what year. But I would say we've been doing business with them for 6 years. Now we're doing private labels for them, and we're one of the top three sellers at the shop. So we're doing these things because the store has to understand that boutiques do not sell themselves and need a little bit of help and guidance. And stores that do that, we do better in. A lot of the stores, depending if your store is boutique heavy or traditional heavy, is how a store would be open minded to bring us in. And sometimes when they do bring us in, they just put it there and don't say nothing about it. I might go and do an event one day. Okay, we get 30 people there, but only those 30 people know about it. How about there's other hundreds of the customers? It's something that's more work for a guy that has boutique brands because he has to try to sell them.
So the other part is, and this is what it is. I'm on the website, and it doesn't list any of the cigars. Is there a reason why you all don't have your cigars on there? And how can someone who's new to protocol, knowing protocol, get to see your lineup and read about the cigars and what they're made of and so forth?
So that is something that I've been asking for. We have to revamp that whole website. The website kind of started when we first started, and the product has grown beyond that website. We just got to get it to the
Yes,
same place.
yes.
But with that said, if you start, I'm gonna give you an example. Like take some of the big guys. I know some people feel different little ways about shopping with big guys. Some people want to stay with brick and mortars. However you go, but if you go to one of the big guys, let's take Famous Smoke Shop. They were one of the first big online guys that had our cigars. If you go to Famous Smoke Shop and you type in protocol, they'll have an entire rundown. They have everything that we carry, and they'll have everything there.
Okay.
So you kind of see from there, and then from there you kind of see. But you're 100% right. We should have all the brands with a brief introduction, breakdown of the thing on the website, which is something we got to work on for 24.
Yeah,
So that's just a matter of getting a better website person.
yeah.
All that,
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah, that's the man right there.
And I ask because I want to link that to this conversation so that folks know, beyond the conversation, how to look up the cigars and see, what would pair for them, what would be the great cigar for their palate, so they can try something.
A lot of our cigars are rated by a lot of cigar media. So I'm gonna take for example, Cigar Coop, William Cooper. He is cigar media. He does press releases, reviews, all kinds of stuff. So if you guys, once you guys really get into, or people get into this industry, you start reading Half Wheel, Cigar Coop, Cigar Dojo. There's so many cigar media outlets. Within these cigar media outlets, they do, a lot of them do breakdowns for us. I would say the most that's done every single cigar that we've ever had, Cigar Coop, and he goes very, very deep into a review. If any of you guys are familiar with Cigar Coop, he's out of North Carolina. I think he's in or about the Charlotte area. But he's a really great cigar media platform. It's called Cigar Coop. And if you want to know anything about our cigar, you can you go in the search engine protocol, and it'll come up, and everything he's ever reviewed of ours is there. And he does a real in-depth review of the wrapper, binder, filler, the history. He does a really awesome job. So that's one right there. That's famous smoke shop, and then Cigar Coops. And if you want to really get it in depth, this guy, like, even if tomorrow we came up with the website and it would be like maybe 2 or 3 sentences, but this guy does an entire article. When he does a review, it's an entire like an essay of it, breaks down everything. So he's actually really cool to you know, your palate might be different from his or whatever, but the way he writes his reviews is really, really great. So look him
Okay.
up if you get a chance. Cigar Coop.
Cool. So, Miss Tanya, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am doing quite well. You know, before I get to you, what questions do you have for Juan in relation to Protocol
You
Cigar?
know, I was thinking about that. I was like, what questions would I have for Juan?
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it? Are you still enjoying it?
That's a great question. That is a really great question. Am I still enjoying it? I think I will never stop loving cigars. I love everything that has to do with the cigars from I've seen from seed to finished product. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing to behold. And anybody out there that ever gets a chance to go to Nicaragua, Honduras, or whatever, take it right away. There's we could talk about it later, but there's different options you can go and go see it. It is if you think you guys like cigars now, try going to Nicaragua and watching seed to ash and everything in
Mm,
between. It is an amazing, life-changing experience. If you think you're passionate and crazy now, when you come back from one of these trips, it's tenfold. So, I've been to a lot of those trips. Those trips is what made me want to have my own brand. I'm still enjoying, to answer your question, yes, I'm still enjoying it. And hopefully I will too. Whatever this journey, I'm taking it day by day. I don't know what's going to happen with my brand. I take it day by day. I never really think about 5 years in the future with us because it's always been the kind of, that's how we started in this company is this is what we're doing right now and we love it. And if it doesn't sell, we'll have all these to smoke. I remember thinking to myself, well, I hope it doesn't sell. So this is so great. I want to smoke these forever. But next thing you know, that production run is sold out, and we're, several production runs into different brands, and we've just been growing. So it's fun. It is fun. I'm still having fun.
I understand that. Well, Tanya, you since our last show, I'm sure you remember that well.
Yeah.
And not tooting no horns, but what the broadcast did for Gurkha for our area, it was wonderful. And love the work you have been doing. And I mean, it just seems you're the backbone of Gurkha right now. I mean,
This is Tanya.
it
Yeah.
it really, I believe, has changed the culture of Gurkha and the work that you put in. And not to mention cigar sales person of the year. Did I say that right? Cigar
Yes.
manager of the year or
Salesperson
salesperson of the year?
2022.
2022.
Yeah.
How,
Oh,
the
bravo.
work you did, man, go ahead, Queen. Yeah, the work you put in, the time, the energy, the efforts. What has that been like for you? And I have to say, because you're dating Mr. Juan over there, and how does that, how do you balance the time? How do you put things in perspective? Yeah, two different companies, the culture you're in, and how do you find the time just for each other with the work he's doing, with the work you're doing, the traveling, in a sense that provides balance to any relationship, But what has it been like to achieve that? And I mean, because I've been following you. I ain't cage stalking or nothing, but I mean, man, your name resonates throughout this cigar culture and this industry. So tell us a little about that.
Well, I work hard. I always do. That's me. People know I don't take off. Sleep is for suckers. I work, 365, 24/7. So, finding the balance is, at first I didn't want the balance. I just wanted to hit the ground running and work hard. And also, it doesn't feel like work. When you have a law enforcement background, I'm like, I get paid to smoke cigars and travel. It didn't seem like work. So, I'm putting in 10, 12-hour days, and traveling, 6 states. And it was just like, it seemed easy. But, when they started saying, you need to take off, you're going to burn yourself out. And, I wasn't really like, that didn't make sense to me. And I sit home for a minute and I'm just like, this is crazy. Why am I should be out working. But I see the importance of it now. You got to make time because it gets a little crazy. You got one person who's retired, brand owner, one person who's working for a company. It's, I would say it's more leisure for him, and me, it's more something I kind of have to do, but not to the extent that I do it. But I mean, I had to build the relationships. I wanted to see everyone, and that was the reason why I did well. But now I need to kind of sit still a little bit more, probably get more organized. Um, because organically, whatever happened, I don't even know how it happened, it just happened. But now I guess I got to put together more of a system where, I can work smart, not hard per se. So I still want to see everybody, but I have to put people into, hey, Fred, I had to put people into categories and say who's what. And that I didn't want to do. I wanted the little guy to feel just as important as the big guy, but the little guy, I could be there, 4 times a month because, it's someone's birthday. They want you there. They want to have a party. But then Anton, hey, but uh, but you have to start saying, okay, these people need to see me because they're going to order every 3 weeks, and this person, I have to see a little less because they order 3 times a year. So putting people in those categories is hard. It's very difficult for me, but I noticed in order to have my own personal time, I had to start doing that. So,
What do you think your next steps with Gurkha is? I mean, the only thing I see from here is you moving on up to the
I
east
don't think there's
side.
any upward motion in Gurkha unless Juan decides to leave. He was like, "You don't want to do my job." I said, "I'll do your job. Let me know when
Hey,
you." So,
you're speaking of
so
wine. How is he doing?
he's phenomenal. 26 years in the business, and now he's got his new bride, and he wants to spend some, making the priorities as well, starting to change up his schedules and do things differently. And so, I joke with him about doing his job when he's ready to go. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the only way I'm gonna move up here. Or if someone else wants to offer me something more, I might consider it.
Wonderful.
Venita, you have any questions for Tanya?
I do. Tanya, it's apparent that you are a force to be reckoned with.
Well,
Thank
that's
you.
Your
understatement.
hard work and determination has paid off. Um, Cigars, up until recently, was a male dominated pastime. Have you come up against men in the field who didn't want you to be in the position that you're in? Have you had any pushback?
Oh, I've had some people starting some stuff, calling my boss, saying different things, but that's just what you gotta expect anyway. So, um, but my work speaks for itself, so I
Mm,
wasn't too
there it
concerned.
is.
Hmm. Most definitely.
Mhm. But people, the guys have a lot of opinions. Some of them don't mind calling me at 1:30 in the morning to voice them,
Mm,
and other people in the industry. But how I works, and there's really nothing else going on that my boss doesn't already know.
Mhm.
mm,
So, as far as he's concerned, if you can do handstands in the parking lot, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do work wise. So, and I do that. So,
and,
Your number shows, and your number shows. Yeah.
yeah.
Much appreciated.
Jafer,
Yes.
Jafer,
So Tanya, how did you get started in the industry? What got you into the cigar industry?
well, I did cigar retail for 7 years before this job. So now I've been here with Gurkha for 2.5 years. Um, and so now everybody knows I'm seeing Juan. So Juan is friends with everybody in the industry. So he took me down to the different warehouses in Miami and Florida. We went around to Davidoff Camacho out of Bradley. Gurkha was one of them. With Juan, both Juans, my two Juans, they are friends. And so I went and did a tour of the factory and the warehouse, and I left. And then he came up to Maryland looking for me because Cookie, who's a rep in Maryland, already knew me because I was, a customer and a person who worked at a retail location. So I know Cookie for a good while. So I guess they brought their heads together and figured that I should be working with them. So they came up to Maryland, offered me a job, and I said okay.
Was that a
So
part of your process? Was a part of the process eventually to go from retail into working for a brand?
No, I had a career, so I wasn't really thinking about going into doing that. And I didn't really know the process of being into sales. I never did sales before that and on that level, so I was never thinking about doing it. I did know some. I knew a lot of the reps, but I was really close with some of the independent ones, and those people had to have jobs also and do sell cigars. So to me, it didn't seem like an industry that I wanted to be in, where I would, still have to work and then hustle to travel different states. It wasn't until I got the offer that I realized I could be paid by the company to work in-house and then also get commissions and so forth. So, and I didn't really know much about the industry. I just was friends with a lot of the reps in the industry. So, um, yeah. So I didn't have any desire to do the particular job that I'm doing now. When they offered it to me, of course, I had questions, and I called some of the people I knew who were reps and asked them, different questions, and and that I ended up in it totally accidentally. I wasn't looking to do it at all, actually.
Well, you make it look easy, so congratulations to
You.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, you do. Tess.
So, Jay Ferg stole my question too, but I want to piggyback off of that. How did you get to Gurkha? Because if I'm not mistaken, when you got to Gurkha, they were in a bad time. They were at
Yeah,
the time they had the issues with race.
yeah.
And other part of that question is they put you in the South, or you're in the South. How difficult was it for you as a black woman in the South being a sales rep? And has that changed over the 2 years?
Well, when they first hired me, they hired me for St. Louis, Nebraska, all kind of areas over there. And I took the position, but a couple of days later, Ken, who was working this territory, left for another company, and they called me back and said, "What do you think I'll stand on the East Coast?" They gave me a raise even before I left to say to take it. I was like, "Sure." So I ended up in the Mid South, is what they call it. Oh, it was difficult. It was difficult. The hardest hit was Georgia for them, and majority of my territory is not the same. So they didn't like it for whatever reason, or they didn't care one way or the other what was going on race wise with Gurkha. So, but Gurkha, the biggest fans were here in Georgia. So that was where I got the most pushback, initially, and there was a lot of craziness,
Yeah.
So. Um, but I kept coming back. People throw my card in the air. I still came back. I get kicked out of a shop. I'll come back and see you. I was a police officer. I said the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to put me out. It really isn't, somewhat intimidating, but it's not going to scare me away. So I continued to keep showing up, and eventually, for the most part, I would say a good 99% of the people were like, even if it was initially, we don't support what they did, but we support you, and then eventually it was like, some shops I could go into and everybody's smoking Gurkha. So it was really crazy how once you build a relationship with the people, it took a lot of times of you giving them cigars and letting them try the cigars for them to trust the brand for one. For some of the companies that didn't care about the race issue, it was more about what is the product like. And then for the ones who did care, it was more about me showing up. And then once I got in the shop, I didn't disappear and just say, okay, thank you, and I'm out. No one needs Gurkha, So you can't act like everybody just needs your cigar and you gave them what they needed and you walk away. So I'm there with my customers and and the consumers 100% of the way, whatever they need. I try to troubleshoot it, try to give them what they need, and that's pretty much it. Sister Tanya, would you say it's a little easier for a female to work for brands now, especially being a woman of color? Yeah, a lot of people are looking for diversity. In this area in Georgia, they flood the market with the wraps of color, So a lot of companies, they want this market, we're consumers. People of color are consumers, so they know that. And so they want a piece of what the people are spending here. A lot of companies don't know how they're spending the money they spend here to smoke and live the lifestyle they do, but everybody wants a piece of it. It's a big market people want. And which means you're dividing the pie up so much that if you're not boots on the ground, you're really not going to go far. So that model is being practiced with a lot of people. They weren't seeing the reps. And so now I'm here pointing my finger and showing up. Now other companies are reaching out and then want to know what to do. And I'm kind of following the model, also pointing, and people telling me that people are pointing to. And I'm like, I didn't trademark that. They can do it too. So whatever. But
It's
you
your
know, it's just
signature.
a signature, yeah. So people are starting to show up, and they were crisscrossing each other a whole lot. When I first my first year, I didn't really see too many people unless they were, you know, like Don from AJ who was like helping me out. Other than that, people weren't really out and about. And now in Atlanta, you know, they show up. So
So
uh,
how did you get to Gurkha?
it was the same trip that I went to with Juan Cancel. He took me down there and to meet different companies. Um, to see the warehouses because I'd been to Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Cuba, but I had never seen the U.S. kind of warehouses, and he took me down there to impress me, and and um,
Shout out to
and
one.
I met
Absolutely.
I met Juan Lopez, and I went to their private lounge, and I drank some Louis, and had a good time, and went back home. They came up there because they had an event, for a charity event for Black colleges in Maryland.
Mm.
And he went to Mina's shop and asked her if she knew me. She said, yeah. Juan Lopez asked if he could have my number. She was like, oh, let me call her first. And she called me. And she was like, the vice president of Gurkha is here to see you. I was like, you're full of crap. And she was like, no, I'm serious. I was like, well, I'm at the gym. I'm on my way. So I get there. Juan's in his suit jacket and Cookie's there. And he said, I'm here to offer you a job. I was like, when do you get paid? I said, when can I start? So, and it's the craziest thing I ever did. You know, I just left and, left what I was doing and came and had to move out of state and leave everything just to go there. And I didn't feel bad about it at all. It felt like the right thing to do. And I didn't know anything about sales. I hadn't smoked a Gurkha probably in 10 years before I went to visit them and they gave me some Gurkha samples. So, yeah, I just didn't really, just kind of everything just happened and I just went with it, really. So,
Let me
yeah.
piggyback on one thing, and the last show that you did with me, other than co-hosting, was the show we did on Gurkha, which Juan did a phenomenal job in terms of clearing everything up. Which, if you don't know, I still have that show saved. It was well over 10,000 views.
Wow.
Yes, it really was. I save it in the archives because it definitely was a phenomenal show. It was great. You did a phenomenal job. And I'm so glad, we pushed through that and moved past a whole lot of things. And I'm just saying this before I turn it over to Sheryl to ask you whatever questions she may have. But what has the sales have been great. In this area, it's back on par. We love it. What is one of your favorite Gurkha cigars? Are you smoking a Gurkha now?
15 years.
Yeah, I'm smoking a Reverend Corojo, of course.
Okay.
Gurkha. Classic Havana Blends is my favorite that we make, Mexican San Andreas, proprietary tobacco and a binder filler. Um, like Mexican tobacco, it has a chocolatey note. I really like that, and so it tends to be more of my palate. I like the Limitada as well. I think I talked to you about that last time. You had a
Mm-hmm.
Limitada 15 years, Maduro. Um, I like that one as well. I get some kind of raisiny notes to it for me.
One of my favorites that you can get basically all the time is the Ghost. And love that cigar. Cellar Reserve was great. I was more prone to the 15-year reserve, and then was more prone to the and I don't even know if they still make it. I believe it was the Black Dragon.
Yeah, the Black Dragon. We still have it.
Wow, where can you get it?
That's gonna be the hard part. I'm gonna find out where you are.
Yeah, that's going to definitely be the hard part. It's a phenomenal cigar. It's about $50 a stick, but for me, it was the presentation in the box was phenomenal.
Yeah, I posted it online recently. Somebody around your area had asked me about it.
Well, if you ever run across any and I can get them from you, buy them from you, I would love to get some a box, and definitely I appreciate that. Sheryl, what do you have for Tanya?
Pretty much everything has been asked, but what I would follow with is what are next steps for you?
Next up for me.
Mm-hmm. From where you are now and what you've accomplished, what's the next step in the road, or what would be your sweet spot?
Ooh, I would like to be in Florida somewhere. So ideally, I would keep down there. But I really don't think about it really. I mean, I'm just going with it, you know. I mean, I'm just on a chill mode, really. Trying to slow down a bit, you know, just
Mhm.
to smell the roses, as we say. I got a grandson, so I'm gonna, you know, I don't know. As far as
That's
growing bigger and badder, I don't know, but if it happens, it happens. I'm here for the challenge.
So
all
with that
right.
said,
And the
what
grandbabies are definitely a game changer.
Hmm. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so so in saying that, um, how are you grooming, or are you grooming someone to pass the mantle to?
Well, not in my in what yeah. I mean, constantly. I'm always here to help people. I get reached out people like who are new to the industry. I seem to be the person everybody seems to reach out to. I'm new too, but for whatever reason, they're like, whatever worked for you, I want to have it work for me. Other companies are sending their people my way for whatever reason. So, um, yeah, it's a lot of. And I'm willing to help anybody any way I can. So my line is open, you know, and I answer all the time. So. But yeah, it's a lot of that. Passing the baton doesn't necessarily mean, you know, doing it. There's room for all of us here. You know,
Right.
I don't, if somebody's killing it somewhere, I'm totally happy for them. And if I'm killing it somewhere, then, you know, it's 80 somewhere and 20 somewhere else. So I don't
Mhm.
mind helping anybody else out who wants to do it or who wants to know what they need to do in my area. I don't have any issue, or any area for that matter. So, um, their positions in my company, and I let people know that they're there, and if they want it, you know. So I try to help anybody anywhere I can, really. So
Well, I really have to say, I really, the work you have done in this industry speaks for itself. And I certainly uh, wish you well in your endeavors. And I really think that you know, your heights, you got some people that have basement mentality and a rooftop vision. And really can't never get out the basement, but certainly you have climbed from the basement to the top. And so I look forward to the day that you definitely CEO material.
thank
Um,
you.
and why I definitely have to say to you, man, that your cigars are a hidden gem. And man, I really would. I don't know what your distribution is like. I really would like to connect you with one of the premier and two of the premier cigar lounges here, namely the one that I'm broadcasting from, which is Cigar Palace, and then the Tinderbox, to get great exposure for the cigar for this area. To and I don't know the depths and heights that you're willing to go, but man, I would not want to see some of your line be a hard to get item. I know that for this area, I'll probably go to Z. And once we get her new lounge open and together, because she loves the cigars, I know you know Z. And man, I really would love to see that happen because from what I smoke, and I'm waiting to get the Bass Reeves. Chester has smoked it, and I think he got good reviews about it.
Yeah, I like the Bass Reeves.
Man,
I'm waiting on that one as well. I'm
what
actually
you
well
smoking on?
into the body, and the
Oh, sorry.
construction is great.
Yeah.
Construction is great. It's burning well.
Yeah,
The taste is consistent, and kudos to you, Juan.
Thank you. And with all our Loman series, we I didn't mention this, but I figure we kind of come back to it. But on all the Loman series we have, so the Sir Robert Peel, Elliot Ness, Bass Reeves, and the Phoebe Cousins both come in a natural and a Maduro. So what we do is we keep the same binder and filler on each and put two different it started off kind of like to show people how the wrapper is probably on a Toro is probably like 80% of the flavor because you're smoking all that. We have the same fillers and binders. Let's take you smoke Sir Robert Pino. The Maduro and the natural smoke so differently. The Maduro is a Pennsylvania broadleaf, but the same binder and filler. So if you took the wrapper off and smoked it, it's the same cigar. We just changed the wrapper and the binder, and it's totally two different cigars. The battery is the same thing. People like the Maduro because it's the Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro. It's really, really good.
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people don't realize that the work you put into it and the ingenuity of wrapper, binder, and filler, it could have the same, cigar basically, but changing a few things and dynamics of it changes flavor and the profile of it, and which leads me to my next question. What I would love to see, man. I'm going to use it in this terms, a trifecta cigar that would capture, your, Connecticut or mild to medium, then go and transition into your true medium, and then transition it almost like a threesome. Man, that coming from you with what you have and the line that you have, I think would be awesome. Man, that would be phenomenal.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you really have something going in terms of the profile of your cigars. They're not normal. They're not subpar. They're excellent. They're great. They are. I almost hate to say boutique. Nothing boutique about your line. Nothing boutique about your cigars.
Well, boutique is not a bad word per se. Boutique has to do all with the numbers. Like, the average, like you got, let's say a Rocky Patel. A guy like Rocky Patel's put out 1 million cigars a year, which is great and it's awesome. But us smaller guys, I don't have that kind of money to order 200,000 of a particular brand. So we put out 25,000 of this, 25,000 of that, and that's how we do. But if I was to listen to demand, I would ramp up production, but I also want to be able to keep my hands in everything and try to keep it true to what it is. So that's something we definitely are thinking about for the future. Start ramping up production, but we got to see how it goes.
Boy, I can't even make this next statement online. I have to talk to you offline about this. Money's never an object. But Lord mercy, I tell you, man. Jay Ferg, I knew this would run a little bit over time. I like to stay within the hour to keep people's interest and but I'm gonna just field a couple more questions from directed towards the both of you from the panel. Chester, you got anything else to add, man?
No, I don't have a question, but I will say, when we got the cigars, when we got the protocols at Cigars 210, I originally, just like anybody else, is new. Like, what are these? I don't know nothing about these. Then one day I had to try one. And then I went down the line. I think we had 3 or 4 different types. And I know the Bass Reeds was one, man. And I commend you all on the work you all are doing. Great cigar. Definitely needs some more exposure. So people could get out their little norms that they stick to. But I want to say good job with creating a nice cigar for us to relax to.
Oh,
Because I enjoy it. We just need them in more shops. And I know you want we need them in more shops.
And
but definitely come up here and talk to Sauce because this is definitely one she needs to have in the shop. It falls right in line with a lot of the cigars she keeps.
Yeah. Thank you. I definitely would love that, man. I mean, really, honestly, game changer for me.
Yeah.
And I have to take my hat off to you, man, because I think a lot of people that get into this particular industry and wanting their own cigars, man, they go, to different rollers and this, that, and the other. And man, I can pick a cigar up, feel it, touch it, and we'll be able to tell basically how hollow it's going to be if it's a short filler, and basically will just say, no, this is some garbage. I don't get that out of your cigars. And when I pick it up, the construction, the binder, pillar, everything is on point, man. There was some thought put into this. You didn't put out no, and I'm going to just say it bluntly, you didn't put out no trash, and I'm so glad to see that. I mean, Tanya has to be proud of you. Tanya, which ones do you smoke?
Can you say?
No, you know what?
I do all the time. I do say, what do you smoke? I like the sour crime. Um, yeah, I tend to like that one. I like the Themis a lot. So I'm a person who, Juan smokes, heavy hitters all day long. That's how he smokes. I don't smoke that way. So I smoke, I go through my day and work my way up.
Yeah.
But then I'm smoking probably more of my day usually than he would normally. So, so I'm starting, if I smoke heavy all day long, I don't taste nothing after a while. So I'll smoke a Themis early in the morning. I love the flavor of that cigar, and it does well for him. Like the cyber crimes, and then at night I'm usually smoking Gurkha. So I don't venture down his portfolio. But I like the Jane Doe. I like a good amount of his cigars. I smoke them all the time. So it's not a big deal. I like his Lanceros. He's got Lanceros. I like those as well.
Love Lanceros. Good. Stephen Parker, to answer your question, we have with us Juan of Protocol Cigars, and we've been smoking his cigars while we were on the show. We gave a synopsis of two of the cigars that he and that we have, which is the Protocol Cyber Crimes Unit, and then also the Sir Robert Peel, and two excellent cigars of his line. Just two of the cigars from his line, which I believe the whole line is a great line. So I hope that answered your question, man, and thank you for joining the show. Man, I tell you, it's been a joy to have both of you on the show together.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Man, look, definitely great. I definitely look for great things to come. I'm gonna, before we close, turn it over to Venita if she has anything to close with or any other questions, and then I'll just give it to the other panel before I make my closing remarks.
Okay, so I would like to say that this is my first time trying the Sir Robert Peel, and I'm really impressed with Protocol. I'm looking forward to putting more in my rotation. I would like to say Happy New Year to you and much continued success.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Venita, something must have been good because you're doing something you don't usually do. You're smoking in your house, girl.
Well, the grandbaby not here. The kid's gone.
Okay.
And so I would like to become an empty nester soon. So
Cheers to that.
So I'm trying. So I'm being grown right now. I'm smoking in the house. The door is open, but I'm smoking in the house. Normally I would smoke my pipe in the garage, and it's still a beautiful night out tonight. It's not raining. I could have sat on the patio, but it's all good. But I got one more question for Juan. Juan, you referred to smoking and religion. This is so funny because I think we all have a certain nostalgia when it comes to smoking. For me, smoking my pipe, it was from smelling the smoke from my grandfather and my uncles. Going into religion and smoke. You said this is something that your father did or your family, your grandfather. How much of a role did it play in your own religion and smoking? And was it Santa Maria? Is that what you called it, the religion?
So it's called Santeria. So basically, it's an African religion that came into the Caribbean when they got the slave. It's an Oruba, so it's an African religion. And when they brought them into slavery, hitting all the islands in on the way to America, and it became where they started to hide their religion through
Right, right.
advancement through and behind Catholicism, Christianity. So combined, and it's an interesting. It's an African religion. It's called Santeria, and it has a lot of deities and all that stuff. And I myself saw them practice that as a child, but I stayed. I'm a Christian,
Okay.
so I don't knock nobody for whatever. My thing is there's a lot of different religions. As long as they're different roads to one end. So as long as you travel in the right road and you're trying to be a good person
Of
and putting
course.
out good energy, by all means, whatever religion it is, God bless.
You're right.
All right. Sheryl?
Almost at the shoulder. and
You
and
said this.
it's still doing what it's supposed to do, right?
Hey.
Sometimes when you get to this far in, you get the nicotine effect, begins to get bitter. I haven't had to relight it once, more than once. So I would say, come on to Florida. I got a couple places here. Certainly the lounge that I frequent here, and certainly some other lounges that I attend throughout my travels here that I consider my home lounges when I'm away from home. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Somebody asked where you can get the cigars in Atlanta.
In Atlanta,
They did.
there's a place in McDonough called Smoke Kings Fine Cigars, right? Is that the name of it, Tanya?
Mm-hmm.
It's in McDonough. They sell it over there. I'm trying to now that I'm actually living in the Atlanta area. I'm going to try to spread a little bit more around here.
Yeah, Montana's. We just got into Montana's as well.
Montana's and Union City. They're right outside. They're in there. So we're slowly but surely we're popping up in places in Atlanta.
That's great. I live in McDonough, so it's really close.
Okay, good.
Kings, yeah.
And what are you going to do for your 10-year? You have a 10-year coming up.
Yes, in next. So not in 25 will be our 10 years. I was thinking about just doing a cigar to commemorate the 10-year anniversary.
Santeria's surrounded. In homage.
Maybe that might be an idea. I like that.
Thurgood Marshall could be a name for it. Thurgood. I'm just throwing that out there.
Jay Ferg.
So my question is, so Juan, do you ever bounce ideas off of Tanya in terms of what your ideas are for future projects, or y'all keep the professionalism out of your relationship?
No, I tell her stuff and get because she's been smoking for a long time. We have very similar palates, and she's a cigar smoker by nature. So I run stuff bounce stuff off her all the time. So
That's dope.
definitely.
That's awesome.
Well, if you ever in South Florida, I would definitely want you to pop in to my home lounge as well. They just got a new ownership, and he's been really big on bringing in a lot of boutique cigars.
What's the name of it?
Smoking Daddies.
Where's that at? In South Florida.
It's in Davie.
Okay.
Yeah, they just took over. They took over ownership probably about 6 months ago, and after they took over ownership, he's been doing a really good job of bringing in a lot of boutiques and a lot of different stuff. He's been on the mission to bring in a lot of boutique cigars. So definitely, if you even in South Florida, definitely hit me up. I definitely want to connect you with those guys.
You need to connect with him soon because it might be a trip coming very, very soon. So hopefully you got each other's contact information.
Yeah, we'll definitely connect. Yeah, just hit me up.
We're gonna make that happen in more ways than one. As I close the show, you will see why. Chester, what you got, man?
Well, first of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to try the cigars, to send us some cigars. But I'm noticing.
Thank you for having me on. Actually, thank you all.
The serve, what is it? Serve Robert Peel.
Mm-hmm.
I see it's a triple cap. What makes what are the deciding factors of making the triple cap?
So the triple cap is a traditional way Cuban cigar rollers would do it. That's just a Cuban thing. And everything that La Zona does, they triple cap it because that's the way they were doing a very Cubanesque style of wrapping the cigar, of manufacturing the cigar. So that is a La Zona thing, and that's just the way they do it. And I love that they do that.
Okay. Yeah, I like.
Well,
thanks again.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to say, based on that question that Chester just asked, this is a gentleman here that he said, "Oh no, man, you the cigar god and all this and all that." Chester has come into his own. You know, he's worked at Cigars 210. He's learned a lot. He's done his due diligence. He's a researcher, and man, now he's asking questions. Yeah, I know it is, man. I know it is, but you know what? I got to give kudos the way it is, because at the end of the day, really. And what makes this show is the people that we have as co-hosts, and I don't even like to say co-hosts, but just hosts. Period. And he's brought a lot of value to the show in more ways than one. And then the questions he's asking, man, he's learning a lot. Probably surpassing. I want to learn. Surpassing me.
He's a cigar nerd, and that's kind of it. We really for all of us.
I know that he would not, the triple cap. Yeah, a lot of people would miss that.
The triple cap to me shows the quality of the construction.
Yeah, and you would have to know that that's a Cuban thing, man. And I appreciate Juan and Juan answering and responding to it, and knowing the origin and whatnot. So that's awesome. And it speaks to why his cigars are so great. But I have to say this, Juan, certainly, man. Many blessings upon you, brother. Salute to you. Salute to your queen. We appreciate the work that she's put in, and I hopefully and I pray that next year when we do Destination Herb, we could have you as a sponsor, and Tanya, you could talk to your powers to be to sponsor Destination Herb next year, and with your permission, Jay Ferg, sir, to add them to the venue of Destination Herb, and to just showcase the talent that is what this show is about, and not just that, but to showcase cigars and the education of. And I believe that you could really give an education piece to what Destination Herb is all about, and bringing value to the knowledge of the cigar industry. And I'm going to put this up here before I get to my last. But, man, this is, for me, this show is special because, man, these are hidden gems. Man, you can't keep this talent to yourself. The distribution levels have to increase, and we need to work on that. And I'm going to help you work on that. I'm hell-bent on helping you work on that. And so connecting with the right people, the right lounges, and to add value to what you have in terms of the distribution. And I believe that, this show is about connections. It's about, moving people in the right places. And, some people play checkers. I play chess, man. And at the day, it's checkmate. And really, we're going to put you in the position to make it checkmate in this industry.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, man. I take my hat off to you, man.
And to answer Shay's question, yeah, I'd be willing to do kind of like festivals and things like that.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Yeah. So it's about this, man. Hey, right there.
Right.
Yeah. I got it upside down, but about to indulge in another one, just to just refresh my drink. And
Happy New Year to everybody. Everybody in the panel. Happy New Year to everybody watching. Thank you.
Yeah, and Happy New Year to the both of you. Happy New Year to those that are on, and to those that are on Facebook, to those that are on the Smoking Jacket page. I can't see all of you. YouTube. And YouTube. We thank you for continually supporting the show. As always, we usually by the end of the week, we usually have about 800 views. So I thank you for all the support that you guys do in supporting the show, and those that don't catch it live that go back and look at it. I thank you for that, your comments, your input, and we just thank Tanya and we thank Juan, and man, we just pray much success over you, and we pray that God continue to bless you in your endeavors and the roads that you travel, and may He pave them with grace and mercy.
Amen.
Amen.
Man.
Thank you.
And that's our show tonight. I certainly appreciate y'all coming on and being transparent about the two different sides. One, you being the owner of Protocol Cigars, and then Tanya, you being the stellar person that you are, making Gurkha what it is today. All right, and we appreciate your work. We appreciate your hard work, and I hope that you get in a position that just not just confined to an area, but confined and put in position nationally to make Gurkha the best company that it is. And Juan, I just hope that you blow up to the point to where, if so be it, you be president. And I'll leave it at that. And the collaborate and work together and just making Protocol Cigars the best company it can be.
Thank you.
I think it's on its way.
From your mouth to God's ears. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So thank you. Hey, all right. And we appreciate all of you that have come on, and we appreciate all the comments. And let me get down.
You're not gonna do your promo?
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna do that as well. And I also gotta add, don't forget to support Destination Herb. Let me close it with this, and let me make sure that you have the information that you need to support Destination.
Can you count, suckers? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
All right, well, that's our show. Make sure you get your tickets for Destination Herb. 3 weeks away. I'm looking to be down there to have a good time.
Yes.
Myself and the co-host, we are excited. So, all right.
All my people.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get these two last comments. Oscar Brody, what's going on, man? Appreciate you for coming on, man. Another lover of the league. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you supporting the show. And Larry, all right. Always, hey, man. Appreciate you supporting, man. And we definitely going to keep our heads up and stay tuned for the next show. Why? That's our show.
Sounds wonderful.